whether you're talking about education or leisure or just life learning, the University of Life. I don't know how people live who don't read. I don't know how they get by.
I went to U of A and studied history, and then did construction work. There weren't too many jobs in history, and I didn't want to go the academic route so much. So then I went and took journalism actually at Grant MacEwan, and then yeah, and then but didn't find too many jobs with that. So then the bookstore was available for sale, and so I bought an existing bookstore. She came in to the store when we were in the Ross block there looking for work, and so then she worked for me, and then we did the move together to this new location, and then about 5 years ago, I sold the store to her, so I have time to do my own writing. That's always been my idea, was to do more writing, part of my journalism training, and so then she bought the store. So one night she closed for me as my employee, and the next morning I opened for her as her employee.
Well, it started off as I was just his employee, but then I guess after about a year working together, we became a partnership in life. It's hard for me to fathom a world without books, and certainly we see a core, number of people that are, I think, a little bit unfazed by the whole ebook reader thing, as are we. We can't really imagine reading a book off a computer, so I think there's still a core number of people that are book people and readers, so yeah, it's certainly affected the business in a negative way, but we're cautiously optimistic that we can hang in there.
Well, there's maybe 10 people that come in every week, I guess. And then there's, certainly now that we're in business for 20 years, we do recognize faces, and, there's some people that come in every year. It's kind of like farming, I guess, that's like a lifestyle more than a means of making, an income or that sort of thing. I was going out to a house. She said she had some books in the garage, and so I got out there and so actually I had a bit of a traffic problem where this guy sort of turned left in front of me, and then I got mad at him and gave him a signal. So then he actually turned around and chased me with his car. Oh, I was in a car too. So the two cars were chasing. Then he kind of pulled in front of me and stopped, and got out to speak to me. So I zipped down an alley and got away from him. And then I arrived at the book buy, and he just had like a box of old like paperbacks in a box in the garage that the dog had been at and stuff. So, and then I was leaving there, and the car broke down. So that was one of the most disastrous book buys. But I survived that, and often we buy the books. People bring them in through the door to offer to us for cash. And so then you never know what's going to be in a box. So it's sort of like Christmas every day that way. Yeah. And it's amazing if you do dig around in a box and there's not much good stuff, but if you get down to the bottom, often there's a nice plum down there. It's quite interesting that way, yeah.
Well, when I took over the store, one of the things I did was I put it online. And one of the early sales we had a beautiful little, just a small little cookbook, 18th century Irish cookbook. It was a beautiful little thing. We'd had it for a while, but when I put it online, I sold it to a doctor in Ireland. And he was so excited to have found this book. We have a huge book at the front, you might have noticed. It's the first Bible in Dutch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's 17th century. Yeah, it has been rebound, but yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Dutch Bible. Well, that's a small print. And we have maps that you don't see very many copies of this. It's 1637, so almost 500 years old. Well, we've had books, say, about political matters that are actually owned by politicians of the 1920s or 30s of Alberta. Yeah, like Mary Crawford or Margaret Crane. Mary Crawford was active in the CCF. Margaret Crane was on city council. And so we have books that they owned themselves that they read and inspired their political work.
Books are just so involving and they're personal, and you can get, I think each person gets a little bit of a different thing from it. It's such a personal experience. I don't know. And a book is an object also, you know, which I've started thinking about that more and more since having the store, I guess. You know, there's 10 editions of one book, but which one do you like holding? Which one do you like looking at, not just reading?
I think the way the book is, you can easily judge, because writing is so basically human, not so technical. You can actually judge why the person chose to do it that way. Why did they break the paragraphs there? Why the sentences? Why did they use that word and not another word? And so you more have a relationship with the creator than other types of art, say. Yeah. Some local history books. History of Old Strathcona, almost 500 pages about the early history, say 1870 to 1920s. And then there's a book, Protest and Progress, about 3 labor radicals in early Edmonton, all 3 of them on the south side. Well, they're an achievement of somebody has personally committed themselves to working for those hours or days or weeks or years to create that. And so it's an achievement, say, of human civilization.
Thunder cries alongside highway lines, Saskatoon.